The mystery of the Prime Meridian. Did you know there's an invisible line that divides the entire world into east and west? This line decides your time zone, your navigation, and even how the world is mapped. It's called the Prime Meridian, and its story is more mysterious than you think. The Prime Meridian is a giant line running from the North Pole to the South Pole. It is set at 0 degrees longitude and splits Earth into two halves, the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. Without it, we wouldn't have global navigation, time zones, or GPS. This invisible line is like the spine of our planet's map. But here's the interesting part. For thousands of years, people lived without any prime meridian at all. Ancient travelers used the stars, the sun, and landmarks to find their way. For example, African traders crossing the Sahara would follow the position of the sun during the day and the stars at night. There was no World Zero line, only natural guides. Fast forward to the age of exploration. Sailors from different countries began using their own prime meridians based on their capital cities. Paris, Rome, Beijing, even Lagos had its own local maps, but this was a huge problem. Imagine a French sailor's map saying one thing, while a British sailor's map said another. It caused confusion, mistakes, and sometimes disaster on the seas. By the 1800s, the world had grown too connected for such confusion. Trains, ships, and global trade demanded one common system. So in 1884, leaders from 25 nations gathered in Washington, D.C. for a historic meeting. Their mission was simple: choose one prime meridian for the whole world. The result? Greenwich in London was chosen. Why Greenwich? Because at that time, Britain ruled the seas, and most of the world's maps and charts were already based on Greenwich. It was less about geography and more about power. From that day, the Royal Observatory in Greenwich became the centre of the world's map. But the Prime Meridian isn't just a line on a map. It gave birth to something even bigger, Greenwich Mean Time, also known as GMT. Before GMT, every town kept its own local time, often based on the sun. This meant noon in one village could be minutes or even hours different from noon in another. It didn't matter much until trains and telegraphs came along. Suddenly, exact time mattered. Imagine buying a train ticket that said the train leaves at noon, only to find out the next town's noon was 15 minutes earlier. Chaos. The Prime Meridian solved this. From Greenwich, the world was divided into 24 time zones, one for each hour of the day. When it's noon in Greenwich, it's midnight on the opposite side of the globe. This system made global trade, travel, and communication possible. It literally became the heartbeat of time. Now here comes the twist. The line tourists visit at Greenwich today, the one shining on the ground with people taking photos, is not actually the exact prime meridian anymore. Thanks to satellites and modern GPS technology, scientists discovered the true zero line is about 102 meters east of the historic one. So technically, if you stand on the tourist line, you're not on the real prime meridian. But that doesn't stop millions of visitors every year from lining up, stretching their arms and saying, "I'm in two hemispheres at once." The prime meridian is more than just history. It still shapes our lives every single day. Every time you check your phone for the time, schedule an online meeting, or navigate with GPS, you are relying on a system that all goes back to that decision in 1884. Think about it. Without the prime meridian, the world would still be living in chaos, with everyone running on different clocks and different maps. So next time you check the time on your phone, remember, it all goes back to a line carved into history more than a century ago, an invisible line that tells us where we stand in the world. Would you like to visit the Prime Meridian and stand in two hemispheres at once? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing facts that shape our world.